Hello, CRPSers. So, update for you. I've had my stimulator since June 26th of 2024. And, ow, Georgie! And we have figured out some weird things that have been happening. So, a couple weeks ago, I think we're on 2 weeks, maybe one week ago, I rode my disability bike for 7 blocks-ish, with it doing 90% of the work for me. And later that evening, the left side of my body then basically felt like I stepped in cement. I couldn't lift my leg up, couldn't move my foot. It was like it was just stuck to the ground unless I dragged it with me. And then the same thing happened with this thumb and finger, is that all strength and ability in these two fingers left me. Now, I do have CRPS in this thumb and index finger from a different injury that was completely unrelated to my foot surgery. It did happen after the CRPS, and it also happened from a blacking out episode, which they've not really found the reason for, other than they think it may have been my gabapentin, but they haven't concreted that answer yet. What we do know is that in the first major fall, I banged the front of my head and got a knot right here, and that was in December, just a couple weeks before Christmas. And in that fall, I went 6.5 feet down a flight of stairs and over the edge of the stairs, because our staircase doesn't have the under railings. So I went face first down the staircase, hit my head where the first floor ends and then the ceiling to the basement begins, and it threw me backwards, very fortunately, because otherwise I would have been going face first down into a basement, which would have been the cement basement foundation. And there's only about 30 inches at the base of our stairs, because we live in a 100-year-old home and the stairs were put in long after the fact. Originally, you could only exit in from the outside of the home, like Dorothy doors, thunderstorm Dorothy doors. So it would have been probably a broken neck or broken collarbone or something situation if I had not hit my head. But I landed, I remember kind of slow motion, my head went back, and then I remember watching my left leg in slow motion fall to where I was going to see my foot bang off the stairs, and thinking to myself, this is going to be bad, because, the slightest touch to your CRPS is horrendous, but a bang is like someone has shattered you with an anvil. But I don't actually remember my foot hitting the stair. The next thing I knew, I was all the way down the staircase and off to the right of it, over the couch and next to where the staircase would be. So our staircase goes down, it's all open railings on this side. Actually, on both sides we have 2 railings. There's a love seat, and I was under the railing, over the love seat, and on the floor to the right of the actual staircase. No idea how I got to there. Fortunate for me, right before I had gone up the stairs, I set my phone down on the love seat, because I was thinking, oh, I'm going to grab myself something to eat. I don't need one more thing in my hands to carry, because I like holding both railings when I go down the stairs, but when I bring food down to our makeshift family room, I would obviously just hold the one railing. Excuse George today, I don't know, or furball, sorry, same thing. I don't know what his issue is. He's being extremely clingy and problematic today. He's not helping me like he normally does. But so anyway, in that fall, I gave myself a concussion. I sprained my thumb, sprained my wrist, sprained my right elbow. So sprained my left thumb, my left wrist, right elbow, left knee, left ankle, and bruised my back because I had landed on the staircase, and it bruised my tailbone. So that was all from that one fall. I literally thought I had broken my hip. It was that bad. And I was doing so good, like all of us young women do. I'll call myself young. All of us young women do. I was kind of sniffling and crying and staring at my hands, like assessing my injuries. and I got my phone to call my husband, and I was just kind of like snubbling, like, you know, this really hurts, like I'm pretty much in trouble here. And he answered, and my husband is a truck driver, so he doesn't always have the opportunity to answer. But at this point, he had been at a stoplight, and so he answered the phone. And I said, "Where are you?" And he said, "Oh, I just came over the bridge," which means he's literally 5-6 blocks from our home. Now, he's going the opposite direction to go to the terminals, but if he turned at the light and came up the hill, he'd be coming towards our home. And as soon as he said he was at the light, I turned into a groveling, sobbing 10-year-old child who, you know, was like, "Daddy, I hurt myself." You know, like we all do when you skin your knee and you're just fine until you see your mom or dad, and then you're like, "Ah." Well, that was definitely me. As soon as he said he was that close, I started to bawl. It was like, "I'm really in trouble. I did it this time. Like, I fell on the stairs, blah, blah, blah." So my knight in shining armor came breaking through our basement door, quite literally busting through the door, because I had locked myself in the house from the inside since it was late at night and he was working, so I locked myself in. So the only door he could get in was the basement, and my mother and I had blocked the door with some items that same evening, of which he always tells us not to do, and yet we still did it. So he not only had to break in the door because he didn't have the key, because I had locked it from the inside, but he had to break the items that were in front of the door as well. But he got to me, took me to the hospital. Actually, we called an ambulance because I thought I had broken my hip that time. Flash forward, I fell in January, I fell in February, I fell in March, and in the very beginning of April, I fell the worst of the falls. I had gotten to the top of the basement stairs. I pretty much had been grounded, I guess you'd say, from going down in the basement unless someone was home or someone was there to watch me go down, because all of the falls had to do with the basement stairs, either going down or coming up them. So I'd basically been banned from the basement stairs. And my husband was downstairs, and he was getting some information for our veterinarian, and I yelled down the stairs to ask what type of brochure he wanted. Did he want the metal urns or the wooden urns for an animal of ours that had passed away? And the next thing I knew, there is a video about this, but for those of you who haven't seen it, the next thing I knew, I realized that the door was moving. And I thought to myself, like, why is the door moving? Like, I didn't touch it. And then I realized it was actually me. I had blacked out again for that split second. And I was turning, and which is why out of the corner of my eye, I felt like the door was moving. I was actually turning and falling. So the base of the doorknob of the basement door hit me at the stem of your skull, where your brain stem goes up into your skull, at which point the door flung open and out of the way, and I took a step back, and like, I'm assuming in the effort to catch myself, hit again the same exact location at the base of my skull, where your brain stem goes up into your brain, on our kitchen counter, which then my feet slid out, and I fell down and hit that same exact spot on the round knob of the kitchen drawer, and then shifted and hit the same part of my skull on the cabinet door that is under the sink, which never closes because they are 100-year-old cabinets, so they're always slightly popped open, and I actually chipped the paint off the cabinet. That's how hard the base of my skull hit that. So it was boom, 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 all in one motion. I sincerely thought I still had my phone in my hand at the time, because I had been talking to the vet tech who was asking me questions about the brochures to yell down the stairs in the first place. So my husband heard the thunking. He said he had a kind of a thought in his head that if I got out of bed that day, that he thought I was going to fall down. So he came tearing up the stairs to find me, handing him my hand, like, take this, only to find out my phone was like on the other side of the room, because apparently it flung out of my hand. But I sincerely thought I was holding it. From that day forward, and that was the beginning of April, this is now November, I have continued to have those same sensations where I feel like I'm holding something that I am not holding. like the remote control or my phone. I have extremely vivid dreams where I wake up to find my hands actually doing whatever it was in my dreams. You know, like if my dream I'm typing, or if I'm kneading bread, my hands are up in the air and I'm physically doing that motion. I've also suddenly gotten these twitchings that as I'm getting tired, my shoulders will like jerk and twitch into myself just as I'm falling asleep, to the point that they wake you up because they're doing it so violently. And then just these headaches and this paralyzation of the left side of the body, where for several moments the left side of my body, my leg doesn't want to move. It's like my hip is frozen. It's weird because the strength in my thigh muscle is gone. I can't lift my foot up off the ground. The strength in my hip is gone because I can't like swing my thigh out. And then the same thing with the thumb. The strength in the ability to grasp and hold something is gone. All of those symptoms have continued since those 2 major falls, mostly from the one in April. So flash forward, and on Friday, I went to a jeweler's to sell some jewelry, and to my shock and surprise, got a tremendous amount more than I thought that I would be getting for them. I thought that they would be like garage sale prices for jewelry, because obviously they have to turn around and resell them as well. But the man explained that no, they don't necessarily resell everything, that some things they just melt down if they're too out of date, or essentially like just something that they know somebody won't buy. They take the gold or the silver and they simply mark it down, so then you get market value for the weight of that gold or silver. And I didn't know that, so I was thinking, oh, you know, I'll walk away with, you know, $20 or something. And I walked away with $100, a little more than $100. So I got extremely excited and happy. Then, as I was coming out, there was a parade full of just all kinds of trucks and cars with American flags in the back, and they were honking, and some were yelling, go vote and get out the vote, and all these things that it was kind of exciting. And I had to turn into that line in order for me to go home, because I couldn't get across to go the other way, because it's a 4-lane road with a middle turning lane, so nobody ever turns left on this particular road. So I had to turn right to find my way back to Main Street to go home. So I ended up in this parade, which was really fun. I got to honk and wave at all the people that had their American flags on the side of the road. It obviously must have been pre-organized because of the amount of people that were on the sidewalks and the American flags that were out, and big American flags that people were standing with, multiple people like making them wave in the wind because they were so big. And it was a lot of fun. So again, my excitement got built up. And then that same evening, the same thing happened. My left thumb and finger lost all strength, and the left side of my body began to drag. So we've emailed the doctor, we've notified them. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this type of thing after your stimulator, or if it's simply just your CRPS that's doing this to you. But you can go on the spinal stimulator on Facebook. I'm in that group if you want to leave a comment in regards to your experiences with this, or you can leave a comment on here, and I will absolutely communicate back and forth with you if you're experiencing these types of symptoms. But I'm just wondering, if you've made it this far in the video, if anyone else is having these same things. Are you experiencing whatever side your CRPS is being weakened by your nervous system when you're experiencing extreme highs in emotions or extreme lows in emotions? And mine so far have been extreme highs, because although I am easily overwhelmed and have panic attacks, I don't tend to be an extremely dark in the mind, negative type of a person. As you guys can see from my videos where I say, to remember it won't kill us, and to try to stay positive. As much as I'm very overwhelmed by everything that's going on, I still wake up and in my head, I'm still a happy person, if that makes sense. I know they always say, are you depressed? Do you feel depressed? Well, I might be depressed about my situation, but overall, my mind is still a happy mind. I wake up singing little tunes in my head, or I wake up overall being excited for the day. I might, like I said, be down about whatever's happening, being in a lot of pain, or the situation with my home right now, having mold in it is not something that makes anybody feel happy and excited, but I'm still just overwhelmed. And I think there's a difference between depression and overwhelmed. And I do notice that if I allow myself to get too overwhelmed by everything in my basement having to be now in the rest of my upstairs bedrooms, my living room, my dining room, my office, our garage, it's all just overtaken by all the things that were downstairs because they've had to be cleaned and brought up for them to come in and professionally rip our basement apart, mediate the mold, waterproof our basement, and put it all back together. So in the meantime, I look like I live in a hoard. And I'm sure if you're an organized, cleanly person, like I tend to be, that overwhelms me and makes my nervous system wig out in a better sense. So overall, this was kind of like a catch-up video as well as a question video. I wanted to see how you guys are doing. Is anyone else experiencing these same symptoms? I know this channel tends to be just for those of us who have this disease, and my following really isn't too many other people, and that's okay. I really just want to have a blog out for people who are going through the same thing that I am, and that isn't a medical professional, a professor of medicine, or anything like that. Just a normal person who has CRPS and got a stimulator, and what is life like. Now, I will say, even though I got my stimulator in June, I am still on all of my medications. They reduced my gabapentin by 1 level. So from 800 3 times a day to 650 3 times a day. They reduced my Belboca from 800 to 600 twice a day, just like a lot of you have said you're taking as well. And then they reduced my hydrocodone from 3 times a day to 2 times a day. So I have had some medication decreasing, and I'm really glad that they're doing it in a slow and methodical manner, because I have no desire to experience withdrawal symptoms, and I want my body to be the least taxed that it can be coming off of these medications. I know that I'll have to take gabapentin the rest of my life. We all know that. It's just because of, you know, if you're a nervous system disorder, you have a nervous system disorder. It's just part of the game. But will I have to take the other ones? I just don't know yet. And I'm curious if any of you that got a stimulator, if you've been able to eliminate the opiates from your cycle, or were they only reduced to a small amount? So in closing, my questions would be, for those of you who have gotten a stimulator, or even who haven't, who just have the disease, do your emotional extreme highs and extreme lows trigger any stiffness, paralyzation, or loss of motion in your weak side of your body, whichever part has the disease? Because the other side of my body is fine. I don't have any issues. And thankfully, it's not my driving foot or driving arm or anything like that. So I'm grateful for that. My second one would be, have your medications been reduced? And if so, how slowly and how long did they reduce them for? And then thirdly, do you guys skip your medications to drive? Because that's what I do. In the state that I live in, driving, even with a prescription, you are still considered under the influence. And I obviously don't want to get in an accident and hurt anyone else, let alone be liable for an accident at all, because insurance obviously wouldn't pay if they said, well, you're under the influence of your medications. So I always try to, one, never drive if my brain is feeling foggy, and two, to only skip my medications for 1 to 2 hours to get what it is that I need done before I take my next dose. So after I've taken my medication, I try to wait until it's the time to take it again, to quickly run out and get whatever errands I need done, to then come back home and take it within the hour or 2 hours of my normal time. That way I'm legal to drive because it's out of my system, and I'm also of the clearest mind as any normal person would be to drive a car. So those are my questions for you guys. I hope some of you will respond, and I thank all of you for being my members. I greatly appreciate it. It's such a small channel, but really there's only 200,000 of us in the whole world that have this disease, so I suppose I can't have more than 200,000 subscribers someday. Anyway, you guys stay positive, and remember, CRPS won't kill me, and it won't kill you, and it certainly isn't going to bother Furball over here. Say hello. And this is my I don't feel well bear, because today has been a very hard day. So this is so comfortable to lean to the side and just have that propped up but still be in bed, so you're not feeling like you're laying in bed all day long. He's my sick buddy. Yeah, I know. Anyway, CRPS won't kill me, it won't kill you, and we'll see you next time.